Good day, and you're welcome to the Royal News Network. My name is Lucas George. A utility district board meeting held at the city of Riviera Beach on June 1st, 2022 at 5:42 p.m. After a moment of silence and a pledge of allegiance, a resolution authorizing the board to grant the director approval to execute the Florida's Water or Wastewater Agency Response Network Mutual Aid Agreement. Motion was approved, and Michael Lowe, who was also the executive director, presented.
Madam Chair, thank you. Michael Lowe, Executive Director. Florida Warn is an agency that was set up after the major storms, Jean, Francis, Wilma, as it was recognized that the various utilities in the state should be able to provide assistance to one another should there be some form of natural disaster or other event.
After this, a resolution approving an additional $200,000 for the emergency from United Rental Incorporated. Mr. Lowe.
Through the hurricane season to help cover any power emergencies that we would have with our pumping stations. We also have currently rental generators available to us, far fewer of them, but one extremely important one at the water plant.
Special CRA meeting also took place on June 1st, 2022 at Riviera Beach. There was discussion of the CRA organization structures. Mr. Evans called on Chris Smith for the presentation regarding the research he has made on the structure that was preferred for consideration. Let's hear what Mr. Chris has to say.
CRA attorney Chris Smith has done some research with regards to the structure that was proffered for consideration, and so at this time I'm going to turn the presentation over to attorney Chris Smith.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. First, I'd like to apologize to the board for the lateness of the memo, and I'll explain exactly why that transpired. When we met last Wednesday, the question was posed, can the CRA staff become a department of the city, and can staff become employees of the city? Well, that was on Wednesday. We endeavored to contact the Florida Association of Community Redevelopment Associations, and they did not have any information whatsoever regarding structures of CRAs and how other CRAs do it.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. When you said this example in Lake Worth that the employee was actually a CRA employee, but he was housed in the city of Lake Worth Beach, did you mean physically housed, or
yes,
meaning the physical location?
What's common through most of them, a lot of them are in the city halls. So the CRA staff are housed within the city hall, and it gives the appearance like they are a department. They're housed within City Hall and are paid for through a city paycheck.
You are engaging in financial malfeasance by having a full-time employee doing a second full-time job. What do you do when you have elected officials engaged in malfeasance? You recall them from office. We got all the votes to recall a mayor in North Bay Village called Escarosa, and the state attorney said, you're either going to resign or you're going to be criminally charged, and she resigned. Myself and a guy, Al Blake, pushed that recall through. I believe what you are doing, the people on the west side should realize that you are being ripped off. The dollars that should be spent for redevelopment are going to extra lawyers. They're going to a city manager who needs to get paid twice. Why did the city manager make $450,000 in 2020? He probably liked making $450,000. He made more than the President of the United States, your taxpayers' dollars paying it. Now he's going to be able to make $450,000 again. He'll get paid a city salary. He'll be paid a CRA salary. We don't want to pay $450,000 to one man. Not only that, where's the checks and balances? Where's the checks of having, maybe he does something wrong and the city manager will catch it. That's why you have an executive director of the CRA and you have a city manager. You don't have them both do the same job. There's something really wrong about what's going on here. Now, normally when something's really wrong legally, Mr. McCoy picks up on it. I think he did kind of pick up on that. There's something wrong fiscally. There's something wrong ethically. There's something wrong legally relative to the charter, but more important, it comes down to malfeasance of what's going on here. How do you deal with malfeasance? You recall some of these women here who are pushing this through. You're trying to push this down everybody's throat. We don't want that. The taxpayers don't want a man making $450,000 a year. They'd rather make $250 and somebody else make $200. Why should one man have two jobs? Why can't we give another deserving man a job for $200,000 or a woman for $200,000? Why does he have to be so greedy that he has to do both jobs, which he can only do half-assed, for lack of a better word? There's only so many hours in a week you can work. I think malfeasance is taking place here. There's a way to deal with malfeasance, and that's to recall some of the people on this board. But there's other reasons to recall them, and that's going to be coming down. There's malfeasance. We could talk about that during the city council meeting, as far as Botel just defrauding the taxpayers of money with Sammy Brown's overtime and what have you. But we are not going to, the taxpayers are not going to put up with what's going on here today. I'll tell you that.
And he was a CRA director. That was terminated. Now, I don't understand what's going on, because you all are bypassing and just doing what you want to do instead of doing what is right. Because you should have hired a CRA director. You were in the process of doing that, and then all of a sudden you just make a motion to make Mr. Evans a permanent CRA director. That's ridiculous. That's totally ridiculous.
The traffic on Military Trail, I work traffic homicide cases. It takes a minimum of 4 hours to investigate that case. Bro, you shut that road down until that case is done, until you finish. That means all the traffic is diverted. One accident. If you get another one back to back, it's another 4 hours.
After consent agenda was approved, there were various comments by the public.
I've lived in Jupiter in the Pines 50 years. Palm Beach, excuse me, Palm Beach County began the low-income senior citizens municipal tax amendment in 2014.
You go into jail 6 by 6 in one room, 8 by 6 in another room, 280,000. How is that affordable? And then another thing too.
Now what he wants is to hold up the city for the millions and millions of dollars that he thinks his $24,000 piece of property is worth. I urge you not to listen to the threats that he makes and to reflect back on the threats that he has made in the past, which have never come true.
And then once they built, they didn't want anybody to build in front of them. So there's been this obsession. We don't want anybody to build in front of them, even though that was dry land when it was sold in 1924. And the only reason it's ankle-deep water now is a contractor, Murphy Construction, came in the 40s and stole millions of cubic feet of dirt to build North Ocean Drive. Otherwise, it'd still be dry land. The state doesn't sell submerged lands. It's illegal to. They can only sell dry land.
Awards and presentation. A young man by the name Justin Ricketts was awarded for getting a perfect score of 1,600 on the SATs. A proclamation from the Office of the Mayor recognizing Justin Ricketts for his outstanding academic achievements. Swearing in and badge pinning for a new promoted Sergeant of Police, Hosel Harrison. Resolution on regular agenda. A resolution authorizing the Mayor and Clerk to execute an agreement with Seven Kings Management to provide third-party marina management service to the city for the operation of the marina. The meeting was adjourned after the statements by the Mayor and the City Council. My name is Lucas George. You're on the Raw News Network.